Welcome to Rick's Scale Model Fix and another brand new kit review. This time we're going to be looking at the OV-10 D Bronco in 1/48 scale from ICM. So let's conduct the box top tour. So on the lid we have a Bronco pictured over the desert, probably Gulf 91. On the box side we've got 5 marking options depicted. Your kit number for this one is 48301. Not too much repeated on each of the box ends. So without further ado, let's lift the lid and see what we have inside. So as with most ICM kits that I've come across, the box top is literally just a sleeve for a rather plain box underneath. There is plenty to look at when you first open that. So we've got everything looks to be bagged, not necessarily individually, but in small sprues together. Got a strange coloured decal sheet and the instruction book. So the cover of the instruction book is on a heavier glossy paper, and there's a small spiel about what the aircraft got up to with some technical spec, a couple of paint reference charts, and it's open and on with the parts map. So as you can see, there's quite a few plastic bits contained in the kit. We've got a number of sprues there. So we've got A, which has got the, I'm going to say, the fuselage pod, tail booms, elevators, match pair I'm assuming, wings, weaponry, cockpit detail. Continued over the page with more internals, I would imagine, because we've got ejector seats there and the wheels, clear parts, and a weapons sprue ×2. Unsurprisingly, construction starts with the cockpit and the seats. So the seats are built up, they look to be multi-part, quite well detailed. Certainly going to be enhanced with Edard's etched harnesses. Launch rails, backrest, etc. comes together before being assembled in place, in this, for this example at the rear. Central cockpit tub being assembled around that with the instrument side consoles, control column and throttle quadrant. Over the page we're dealing with the instrument panel and the radar screens, the electronic wizardry, before attention turns to the front seat, and again simple method repeated, adding detail to this centre cockpit tub. Sidewalls are separate, so quite nice detail, ease of painting. And in stage 19 it looks like we're starting to add the nose gear. 20 and 21, they're actually separate side consoles, so that'll make painting even easier. Nose gear bay are stuck on the front, so you're just going to have to watch whether these are going to be easily broken off. Instrument panel and coaming in step 23 being then added, along with some electronic boxes to the rear shelf. So all in all, it looks to be a reasonably detailed cockpit. I'm sure the addition of some wiring and things like that would enhance that further. Page 8, and we start to look at the front of the cockpit pod, or the fuselage pod, and adding some framework and more detail. Before at the bottom of the page, those two come together, trapping your hard work in between to nestle that completed cockpit tub in its location. Drop-in panels going in on the upper nose before a one-piece belly plate completes the undersurface, so hopefully all these seams will be nice fit. Certainly a bit of dry fitting there before you commit to glue, otherwise you're going to have some nasty seams to clean up. Undercarriage going in for the nose. It's nice to see that the leg is separated, so it's only the base that is in the nose gear base, so making it less likely to break anything off. Centre pylon added, and it's onto the sponsons and machine guns. That's repeated for the other side overleaf, and those are then added to the fuselage pod. Nose gear bay built up leg built up and added. That's probably going to be best left till the end. Sway braces for the pylons added, and then we've got the laser rangefinder tight under the nose. And gun barrels being added, again probably best to leave those until the end. And then the focus of the build turns to the wings. So these are multi-part affairs, so I'm just trying to work out from the instruction book which is which. I'm going to say it's a single span upper wing with 4-part lower wing to accommodate the fuselage and engine nacelles and booms. Ailerons from flaps all separate, so should be able to pose those a little bit more naturally for a more dynamic look. Disco light on top, and a few other bits and pieces and vents and aileron linkages before the wing upper surface, now that's completed, comes in and sits behind the cockpit. Cockpit windscreen going on and the roof, so again careful dry fitting to make sure you get everything in alignment there. If it fits well, and essentially a dry fit will prove that, then possibly it could be left until the end of the build. Side glass needs to be modified to be shown in the open position, unfortunately. And then we're on to main gear for each side and the tail boom sponson, if you like, repeated nacelle front, plate going underneath before the attention turns to vents and exhaust stacks. Again repeated times 2 for the other side, making sure that you get everything in the right positions and everything's in place before at the bottom of page 18 those 2 sponsons are attached to the wings and the elevator for the tail added to complete that. Then it's on to the props. Speed brakes, they look as though they can be positioned open or closed. A few aerials dotted around the airframe and the windscreen wiper. Turning the attention to the underside, tyres and wheels going on, pylons, and then it's on to the weaponry. It's quite a nice mixture there contained within the kit. So we've got Lao 68s, Lao 33s, Lao 69s, 150 gallon fuel tanks, Mark 77s, 100 gallon fuel tanks, Mark 81 low drag, Mark 81 snake eye, I think they should be Mark 82s, might stand to be corrected. Oh, 82s, sorry, on the other page, Mark 82 snake eyes, Mark 82 low drag, and Lao 10 rocket pods. Handy little diagram at the bottom of page 22 shows you where everything goes on that airframe. Top of page 23, completed model. Nice to see that we have got some templates for the canopy masks. Just simply put your piece of Tamiya masking tape over and cut round those. Photocopy it if you're not too sure, that way you can use it multiple times if you make a mistake. Decals supplied for the weaponry, which is another nice touch, and full colour painting guides, and then it's on to the marking options contained in the kit. So we've got OV-10 D Plus, VMO2, Saudi Arabia 91, and we've got OV-10 D Plus, VMO1, based on the carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt 1990, and that is quite an attractive looking tricolour scheme, one that will probably draw me to replicate once I start the build of this kit. Another Saudi Arabia 1991 Squadron 2 VMO2 in sort of two-tone sand, all over grey machine, VMO2 from the 90s. It does say presumably, so I'm sure they've not really nailed that reference. And on the back page we've got Marine Observation Squadron VMO1 early 1990s in overall grey again. Wow, so that looks to be a very comprehensive kit. Hopefully it'll all go together very well. So let's have a look at these plastic parts, and hopefully they look as good as they do in this instruction booklet. So in no particular order, let's have a look at the plastic parts of our Bronco. So these are the weapons. They look to be marvellously moulded, Yeah, lovely detail there. No flash, no sink marks, odd ejector pin knotted around, but surface detail is really quite nice. So there's 2 of those included in the kit. 2 sprues for the flaps and engine details, sprue E, and again rather quite nice. Some of the smaller delicate parts are lovely, very small sprue attachment points. Things like the wiper stand out there, that the attachment point is actually on the wiper blade, making cleanup very easy. Wheels, 2 halves with a centre hub by the looks of things. There's the hubs. That's the front of the engine nacelle, rear of the seats and the flaps. Some lovely rivet detail on those flaps. Sprue D has drop tank, some of the cockpit sidewall detail, that cockpit tub, landing gear bays and other such items. Again, lovely piece of moulding, bit of a matte finish to the plastic, which should be nice. It should hold primer well. Again, lovely detail contained on some of those parts. So, looking at the plastic parts for the tail booms and engine nacelles, they are superbly moulded again. There's some fantastic detail work on there with raised rivets as well as recessed. There's no ejector pin marks, about a couple there just might need taking care of. Riveting again on the 2-piece elevator or tail section is fantastic, and there's those belly plates going in. Then they feature raised rivets, if the camera can pick that up. Sprue A is that centre fuselage pod, and again we have that familiar lovely surface texture with recessed rivets, and on the inside we've got some rudimentary surface detail for the sidewalls and the nose. Not a great fan of that pitot tube being stuck on like that. I'm sure that'll go ping at some point during the build. Instrument combing, exhaust stacks, there's that disco light. Might have been better portraying that in clear parts, but we'll see as the build progresses. So there's that single belly piece for the under fuselage. Again, some lovely rendered detail work on there. Instrument panel, and the front instrument panel look really nice. They're going to respond well to careful painting and application of the kit supplied decals, and if your hand's steadier than mine you can individually paint those dials. Prop blades, nice location point on the sprue so it doesn't interfere with the prop blades in any way, nice and easy to clean up. So there's that 1-piece upper wing surface. Again, there's nothing I can say, it's superb, it looks absolutely superbly moulded. No sink marks, lovely fine rivet detail. Can't feel any raised rivets at this point, but I would only expect to see them on the undersurface or to the rear of the airframe anyway. There are some on the top of those engine, the top of the sponsons where they go down towards the tail end. They're all raised, so again, very hopefully it's a very good fit, otherwise you're going to have a nightmare trying to replicate those. Clear parts, there's only what, 4? Oh, it's a couple of wingtip lights, 6, 7 clear parts, 8 clear parts including the looks like the gun sight there. Expertly and clearly moulded. And I'm just checking, there is actually a line down those frameworks of these side panels, so if you wanted to depict your Bronco with these doors open, it's not going to take very much effort to just run a scriber repeatedly along that framework until eventually those will break off with a very clean cut, and you'll be able to pose those open with some scratch detail for the canopy stays, etc. Two decal sheets are included in the kit. Both look to be well printed, and whilst I can't find a manufacturer's name on, they do bear the ICM logo. The main sheet has those instrument decals on. Love them, I love them, use them or not. Nice walkways and stenciled data in both colours depending on the camouflage scheme that you're using. Everything looks to be perfectly printed and in register with minimal carrier film, and they do look quite glossy. The second smaller sheet is labelled US armament, and that's for the weaponry included in the kit. So there we have ICM's brand new OV-10 D Bronco, released in December 2021, and follows on from their OV-10A, which was released earlier in the year. ICM have got to be applauded at the moment for some of their subject matter that they bring into the modeler, and with the promise of a 48 scale SU25 for 2022, what's not to like? So I'll give this a scale model rating of 5 stars. I wouldn't recommend it for the total novice, as there may be a little bit of complexity in assembling the wings and the tail booms, and also it's a little bit of a niggle that the cockpit doors can't be posed open, but nothing that can be easily overcome just by scribing along the framework and opening the doors. So until next time everyone, please look after yourselves, stay well and take care.